Hi, Ted Ludwig here. I'm going to be starting a new guitar chat series called Guitar Chat with Ted. This is my first of a new series that we'll be doing. We're going to be doing some playing, discussing some jazz concepts, different things about how I think about the changes. But we're also going to be talking about some gear too, maybe reviewing some gear, talking about some gear, guitars, amps, picks, cables, anything like that. If there's any questions about these things, let me know and I'll be happy to talk about it on the next show. Hopefully this will be something that I do maybe twice a week. But most importantly, we're going to be playing some tunes, having a good time, and discussing some ways to think about some of these concepts. All right, this is a tune that I love to play called Solar by Miles Davis. All right, so that was Solar, and so the thing about this tune is it's has many 2-5-1s going on, a lot of 2-5s going on. One of the things that I like to think about is creating two major points to create resolution. In this tune, this is something that I kind of do. The first chord being C minor, and then this first 2-5s to F is really important. We want to create some tension there, So we're going to talk about some ways to do that, and then the rest of them. Well, we have this 2-5 to E flat, and then 2-5, a short 2-5 to D flat, and then this final 5 to C needs to create some strong tension as well. So we'll talk about that, and then some other ways of major to minor connections are really nice to create some melodic content in sort of in the middle of the form. So let's just talk about this. So of course C minor, simple C Dorian or C melodic minor we can play. Now we have our first, first 2/5. This is a great place to create some nice, strong tension and release. So one way that I might do that in creating this 2/5/1 is I might think of using upper structure triads. This is a beautiful place to do this. So beautiful. So we're actually playing against the C7 altered to F. Okay, against that C7 altered, we're going to think of two major triads. We're going to think of A flat major triad, and then G flat major triad, and then that's going to lead to F. So we call it a triad pair. So that's a really nice sound. We can also have two triad pairs on the 2 chord as well. So against the G minor 7, I'm thinking B flat triad, and then I'm thinking C triad. So check out how this sounds. It creates a nice tension there. So beautiful sound. That's getting to F. Now, that's one way I like to think about it. Another way is something I like to call it the secret scale, but it's based off of well, actually, it's based off of the D flat Dorian. So it's basically just this. Simplest thing in the world that you can play, but listen how it sounds. So that's a beautiful way to resolve from C7 altered. Now I know it doesn't exactly follow the melodic minor scale here. This note is not in the melodic minor scale, but I kind of skirt through it sometimes, or maybe stay to the upper notes. But check out how this sounds. Pretty cool. And what's really nice about this is that you can use. It's easier to use some larger intervals, so. So if I'm playing on the tune, use it here on his B flat 7 altered. So I use that a lot. I really love the way that sounds, because it's really easy to create some intervallic textures. Okay, and there's many ways to play over 2/5/1s, and we'll discuss more as we go. But the two, of Ted's tips, I would have to say that the first one would be creating upper structure triads or triad pairs on the 2 and the 5. Here's another line. It's a nice way to get to that 1 chord. Okay, now as this song progresses, of course you can make all of the 5/1 resolutions, but what I kind of hear, I kind of use my ear when I'm hearing is this major minor relationship that happens. So we hear this major, then we hear that minor, then we hear that major, then we hear that minor, then we hear this major. So playing and kind of ornamenting that is a really great sort of idea to do. So check this out. And then right here we set up to play the 5/1 back to C. So those are my 2 points. My 2 points of sort of trying to create the most interest is going to be leading to the F, okay, which is the 4 chord, and then leading back to the 1 minor. But so trying to give you maybe a whole chorus to kind of check this out, and I'll go through it kind of slow. C minor is just sort of a static chord to me in this sense. To minor, to major, minor, to major, then altered. Okay, so that's kind of the way I think about this tune. So this, when you get to the E, when you get to the F major, you're just thinking, you're kind of following the major to minor. And that's just kind of what my ear's telling me what to do. You know, I'm not really thinking about the change so much. My ear's just telling me to do that. It's saying create tension here, you know, resolve, and then so that's a good place to create tension and release on the end, going back into the top of the form. So that's kind of how I think about the tune. And yeah, so that's pretty much it as far as that goes, as far as how conceptually to think of the tune. Some ways of creating some larger interval spreads, and the way I like to play is just, well, I love the, you know, major sevens. Kind of nice. You know. Now what I did there is I played on the 2-chord triad. I got to this triad a little early. This is kind of playing across the bar, or anticipating this. Then went to regular melodic minor. Now here, when you get to the 1 chord, pentatonics, of course. Then throw a little blues in there too. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it linearly, at least just, you know, for the terms of this lesson. And then some harmonic things that I love to do on this. Well, of course, you know, C minor sets us up for all of the sort of the modal things. So you know, the wonderful thing about thinking of things in scales is that we can think of harmony in scales. That's just quartal harmony, harmony bass and fourths. Now, if we can take each one of these grips. This is kind of more on the intermediate level side as far as what maybe something that maybe a younger jazz guitarist might want to check out, but it's really cool to do, and it really gives you a modern sound. So if we go right up the scale in fourths, we can keep the top note of each one of these groups, each one of these forms. So watch this. We can move the chord either up a half step or down a half step. Keep the top note the same. Watch how it sounds like in tempo. See, kind of gives you some lot of movement on something that maybe a lot of guys are just still thinking of just one chord or just one form. You get a lot of motion out of this kind of playing. so. Okay, and then the other thing is you can take these fourth voicings and change the notes around a little bit. So instead of playing fourth and a fourth, we can think a second and a fourth. So we get this. And here's a kind of a cool one. Sound. You can also play a fourth and a second. So it's going to be like this. So you get some really nice voicings by playing around with them more in a scale format as opposed to, just strictly inversions or just, caged, what we call the caged forms of the chords. All right, so that's something you guys can work on. If anybody has any questions, message me, and we can explore things more in a later episode. One question I get a lot, and this will just be a little bit of gear talk. So, and hopefully this won't be too long, but a little bit of gear talk. So, people ask me a lot of times about my tone. People come up to me and say, "Man, how are you getting? How are you getting your sound?" Well, of course, I have my this is a Linda Manzer guitar, wonderful instrument. I have the tone about halfway. I keep it maybe just I would say 6 out of 10. I want the upper notes to speak, but I want them to be rounded. And then so that's something that I do. Also, the picks have a lot to do with the timbre of your sound. So these are just the I don't know if you can see these are just Pick Boy Jazz 1.5s. And they're not super thick. They're 1.5, even though for some reason they don't seem that thick. But that's what they are, and they get a nice rolled sound. They don't have a lot of, when you pick on them, there's not a lot of pick sound. It's more just like kind of rounded off. So it's a real smooth sound. I really dig these picks. I think they sound great. Actually, Peter Bernstein turned me on to these, and I don't even know if he uses them anymore, but they stuck with me. I'm kind of lost without these things. And then I'm running through just basically right now a little Hendrickson, the little Bud amp, I guess it's a 6-inch Bud. Great little amp, and really great for playing at home. So. But as far as tone, I had someone ask me recently, like how, as far as the tonal quality, big thing, and this is kind of like something that professionals do all the time, but something that maybe a younger guitarist or someone maybe who's less experienced with playing jazz, one thing you can do, we never pick back here. I mean, unless you want more of a ponticello sort of sound, we pick more right over the pickup or kind of close to that area. Some guys actually I've seen play up here. Some guys, it's kind of a variance, but sort of maybe a range of maybe, I guess, up in here would be sort of where you would want to pick. And that's going to give you, the maximum sort of meatiness out of the tone quality, as opposed to playing more back here, a little brighter. If I was playing something funky, that might be cool, I mean, that could work for that. But for the majority of jazz playing, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of right up in here. So as far as tone, that's kind of the things that I think about. Great instrument. Having a good instrument is always wonderful, and will always help your tone. Good sound and pickup. This is actually a floating pickup. Picks, and then the strings, I use Tomastic 14 gauge. standard 14 gauge Tomastics, and then I got a 7-string. Yeah, that's basically, the 7-string is I guess a 74. Well, hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And you guys be good, and talk soon. Bye bye.